All right, on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the greatest common factor first, and then we're going to try to factor what's inside the parentheses. So to start us off here, if we have 2x squared minus 50, we notice that both of those are divisible by 2, so we can pull a 2 out. This doesn't have an x to give us, so we can't pull an x out. So we're just pulling the 2 out, and if we pull that 2 out, this is just going to be x squared left over, and 50 divided by 2 would be 25. So if we were to redistribute, 2 times x squared would get us back to here. 2 times negative 25 would get us back to here. But instead of stopping here like we did the other day, what we're going to do is look inside the parentheses and see if we can factor this like we were doing on the first part of this assignment. So here's 2 terms that are subtracting. So we can write this as 2 parentheses. This 2 is going to stay with us. It's just going to hang out for a little bit. And what we're going to do here is say what multiplies by itself to equal x squared. That's x times x. And what multiplies by itself to give us 25. That's 5 and 5. Make one of them plus, one of them minus. And there we go. So this is going to be a 2-stepper. We're going to pull out what we can from the first, and then look inside. And if we can factor that, we'll go ahead and do that. Same thing over here. Let's notice that all of these are divisible by 4, so I'm going to pull a 4 out. This does not have an x to give us, so we're just going to stop there. If I pull the 4 out of here, I'll have x squared. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 24 divided by 4 is 6. All right, real quick, I just want to see 4x squared, yep. 20x, yep. 24, yeah. If I were to multiply, I'd get right back to where I had it. Now I'm looking inside, and I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to equal 6 and add to equal 5. And again, these are 6 and 1, but that adds up to 7. But 2 and 3. 2 times 3 gives me 6. 2 plus 3 gives me 5. So I'm going to use 2 and 3. So kind of check my work. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. That gets me back to there, and then if I redistribute, I get all the way back there. So that's all of that broken down into the factored form there. Okay. So when we look at 13, I see I have 5. Everything's divisible by 5, so I'm going to do that. But this time, everything has an x, so we're going to pull that x out as well. Now, if I pull the 5 out and I take one of the x's away, I'm going to have 2 x's left over there. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. Take one of the x's out, I'll have 1 x left over. Negative 90 divided by 5 is a negative 18. And I took the x out, so that's what's left. Okay, so if I were to re-multiply, I'd get right back up to there. But now I'm looking inside, and inside I see a negative 18, negative 3. What multiplies to give me negative 18 and adds to give me negative 3? So first off, I could try 18 and 1, but that's way too big. 9 and 2 is too much of a gap. I'll get 7 or negative 7. Probably looking at 6 and 3. So I want, again, maybe off to the side to keep myself organized. I'm trying 6 and negative 3 or negative 6 and 3. Now I want it to add to be negative 3. So I would not want this option. I'd want that option. I want a negative 6. So I want x minus 6, and I want a positive 3, x plus 3. Okay, negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. And it all checks out. And so I'm feeling good about that. All right, come over to 14. 10, 23, 50. Okay, obviously 10 goes into all of those. I'm going to pull a 10 out. This does not have a variable to give, so we're just going to leave it like that. If I pull that 10 out, this is just going to be x squared. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Keep the x there. And then this is going to be 35. All right, again, my goal, what multiplies to equal negative 35 and adds to equal 2. So 35 and 1 is way too big. That's silly. Really, the only other options are 7 and 5. So again, the question you're going to have to ask is it 7 and negative 5 or negative 7 and 5? Now, I want it to add to positive 2. So if I want positive 2, that means I need that option there. So keep the 10 for a second. We're going to have positive 7 and negative 5. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. 7 plus negative 5 is positive 2. There's my answer. Okay. On number 15, I see I've got 9, 9, 180. So all those are divisible by 9. And 5x's, 4x's, 3x's, all of them have at least 3x's, so I'm going to pull 3x's out. All right, pulled the 9 out. I pulled 3 of these 5x's out, so there's 2x's left over there. I pulled this 9. The minus sign is going to be there, but I pulled the 9 out. I had 4x's. I pulled 3 out, so there's 1x left there. And then the negative 180 divided by 9 would be a negative 20. I had 3x's. I pulled those out, so that's just there. All right, now I'm trying to find two numbers that multiply to equal negative 20 and add to equal negative 1. This has really got to be treated like a negative 1 right there. So negative 20, I could try 20 and 1, but that's way too big. 10 and 2, that's not going to give me 1. 5 and 4. 1 positive, 1 negative. One of them gives me negative 1, one gives me positive 1 when I add them together. I want the one that gives me negative 1, so that's this one, negative 5 and 4. So 9x to the third times x minus 5 and x plus 4. All right. Quick check before I move on. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. All right, I'm feeling good about that. This last one here, we've got 6 in front here, and I can see that 6 divides evenly into both of them, so I'm going to pull a 6 out. It's going to leave me with x to the fourth minus 96 divided by 6 is 16. Okay. Now, this is two terms subtracting, so I'm going to do difference of squares. And I say, well, what times itself equals x to the fourth? That's x squared times x squared. And what times stuff equals 16? That's 4 times 4. One of these is plus and one of these is minus. That's real good. If you pulled the 6 out and you broke that into those two, that's really solid. Now, what you're going to notice, though, is over here, I've got two terms that are subtracting, and I do know what times stuff equals x, and I do know what times stuff equals 4. So I can go further right here. I can't on this one. This one is adding. Remember, it's got to be two terms subtracting. So this 6 is still there. This x squared plus 4 is still there. But I can break this one down. X squared is x times x, and 4 is 2 times 2. One of these is plus, one of these is minus. So that would be the whole entire thing. Again, if you pulled the 6 out, good for you. If you got to here, that's really good. If you got all the way to here, that's amazing. And that's how we do it.